My girlfriend said, "I donated your sperm without telling you. My friend couldn't afford a clinic. Congrats, you're a bio-dad." I responded calmly, "That's illegal." Then I called a lawyer, filed charges, and contacted a friend with a cease and desist. When child services got involved and started investigating everyone involved, I, 32 male, am just a regular guy. I work in logistics, I pay my bills, and I like to grill on weekends. My life isn't complicated, or at least it wasn't until recently. My girlfriend of 2 years and I were serious. We were talking about moving in permanently, maybe getting a dog. Normal stuff. About 3 months ago, she started acting weird, distant, secretive with her phone, but also strangely cheerful. I chalked it up to stress or maybe her planning a surprise for me. We were at our favorite cheap taco place for dinner recently. I was halfway through a carne asada taco when she just beamed at me across the table. "I have amazing news," she said, clapping her hands together. I figured she got a promotion or something. "Oh yeah? What's up?" She leaned in like she was telling me juicy gossip. "You know my best friend, the one who's been trying to have a baby? The one whose ex-husband turned out to be sterile?" "Yeah," I said, wiping my mouth. "That's tough. Is she okay?" She took a deep breath, her smile so wide it looked painful. "Well, I helped her. We helped her. Congrats, you're a bio-dad." I put the taco down slowly. The restaurant sounds, the sizzling from the kitchen, the music, all faded into a dull roar. "What did you just say?" "I donated your sperm," she said, as if this was completely normal. "You know those at-home fertility tests you took last month? The ones where you had to leave the sample cups on the counter for 20 minutes before reading the results? I just borrowed them after you were done. I gave them to her. She used a home insemination kit. And it worked. She's almost 12 weeks along. You did a good thing." She was smiling, waiting for a hug. My hands were perfectly still on the table. I didn't shout. I didn't break anything. I just looked her dead in the eye. "That," I said, my voice sounding totally foreign to my own ears, "is illegal. That is highly, profoundly illegal." Her smile dropped like a mask. "What? No, it's not. It's a gift. I was helping my best friend. You stole my genetic material. You and your friend performed an unregulated, unscreened medical procedure. You have no idea what legal or medical nightmare you've just created. You're not happy?" she stammered, genuinely confused. "This is a baby, a life. I thought you'd be proud." I stood up. "I'm going to the bathroom." I walked to the back, went into a stall, and that's when my hands finally started shaking. I Googled criminal lawyers and called the first one offering a 24/7 consultation. I told him the story in a low whisper. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then a gravelly voice said, "Son, you need to come to my office at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Do not go home with this woman. Do not talk to her. Do not text her. As of right now, you are the victim of a crime. Multiple crimes, actually including reproductive theft and battery." I walked back to the table. She was looking at her phone, frowning. "I knew you'd be weird about this," she snapped before I even sat down. "You're so selfish. It's not even a big deal. You weren't using it." "We're done," I said, dropping a 20 on the table. "I'm going home to pack a bag. You need to get your stuff out of my apartment by tomorrow, or I'll have it put in storage. Do not contact me." "You're breaking up with me over this? Over helping my friend?" "I'm breaking up with you because you're a criminal, and you're insane." I left. I slept that night with a chair wedged under my doorknob. The next morning, I met the lawyer. He explained the terms. Theft, battery, yes, apparently it counts, and conspiracy. He filed a police report on my behalf. Then he drafted a cease and desist letter to the friend, let's call her the recipient, informing her that she was in possession of stolen genetic material and was to preserve all evidence of the procedure. My ex didn't take her stuff. When I got home from the lawyers, she was there with her mother. Her mother started screaming the second I opened the door, calling me a heartless bastard who was ruining a poor woman's life. My ex was crying, but they weren't apology tears. They were "I got caught" tears. "Just tell him to drop it," she shrieked. "You can't do this to her. Just sign the papers. Say you'll be the dad, or sign your rights away. Just make this normal. Get out of my house." I said, "Anything left here tomorrow goes on the curb." I locked him out. The next day, the recipient was served with the legal papers. That's when all hell really broke loose. The recipient didn't respond with a lawyer. She responded with Facebook. She and my ex started a social media campaign. They didn't use my full name, but they used my first name, my job title, and my city. They painted me as a monster, a sperm donor who changed his mind and was now suing a poor single pregnant woman to take her baby away. They conveniently left out the theft part. They even started a GoFundMe for her legal defense against a cruel millionaire. I manage a mid-level logistics depot. I drive a 10-year-old truck. Then came the dirty tricks. I got called into HR because someone sent an anonymous email to my boss claiming I was mentally unstable and harassing a pregnant woman. I had to sit there, face burning with humiliation, and show my boss the police report number. I am the victim of a significant crime. I told them, this campaign is retaliation. My company actually stood by me. Their legal team issued a statement to the social media platforms that the GoFundMe was based on fraudulent claims. It was shut down within an hour. My ex was furious. She left me a string of screaming voicemails about how I was costing them money. That phrasing stuck with me. Costing them money. I decided to go on the offensive. My ex always complained about being broke, but she'd recently bought a very expensive designer bag. The recipient was supposedly too poor for a clinic. I'd been smart enough to keep our shared cloud account active on my laptop, just in case. She hadn't been smart enough to log out. I started digging through old document shares and found it. It wasn't a donation. It was a sale. I found a Word document titled, Our Little Angel Plan. It was a contract between my ex and the recipient. My ex sold my sample for $25,000. $5,000 up front, the rest on confirmation of pregnancy. She wasn't helping a friend. She was trafficking my genetic material. The recipient wasn't a desperate woman duped by a friend. She was a customer who knowingly bought stolen goods to create a child. I sent the file to my lawyer. He called me back 5 minutes later, his voice tight. This is no longer just a civil matter. This is a major felony. I'm calling the district attorney. Because this involved an unborn child and criminal actions by the mother, Child Protective Services opened a case on the recipient for unstable environment pending investigation into illegal human trafficking. The investigation was brutal. CPS doesn't mess around. The recipient's world collapsed. She was pregnant, facing felony charges, and CPS was telling her they might remove the child at birth. She finally lawyered up. My ex-girlfriend was arrested. The police charged her with grand theft and fraud. Her mother had to drain her retirement account to bail her out. Suddenly, they wanted to mediate. We met in a sterile conference room. Me, my lawyer, my ex, her lawyer, the recipient, and her lawyer. My ex's mother was there too, sitting in the corner glaring at me. The recipient's lawyer started with a sob story about how her client was misled by my ex and just wanted to be a mother. She offered a deal. She'd list father unknown on the birth certificate and waived child support if I dropped the civil suit and told the DA it was resolved. My lawyer laughed. We aren't here to negotiate custody. My client is a crime victim. Your client is a co-conspirator. There is no deal. My ex's lawyer tried next. My client acted rashly out of misguided love for a friend. She's young. She's emotional. She's 30, I said, speaking for the first time. She's old enough to know you don't sell people's body parts. This was a business transaction. My ex finally looked at me, furious. You bastard. I gave you 2 years of my life. You owe me this. It was $25,000. Her mother shrieked from the corner. She did it to help. You should be proud. You're so rich you won't even miss it. My lawyer silenced them and dropped the final bomb. He slid a piece of paper across the table, a printout from a very shady underground fertility forum. It was a post from my ex, dated 6 months ago. Athletic, healthy, 30-something male donor. Proven, $30,000 for a fresh, viable sample. Discretion guaranteed. PM for details. The recipient made a sound like a dying cat. Proven? You told me I was the only one. My ex turned white. She was running a business. I said, you weren't her friend. You were just her first customer. My lawyer added, the police are now investigating this as a larger biotheft ring. They're pulling her bank records and seizing her laptop to see how many other customers there were. The meeting ended with my ex screaming that I ruined her life while her mother tried to lunge at me. The recipient flipped on her. To save her own skin, she testified that my ex planned the whole thing, convinced her was safe, and handled the transaction. My ex-girlfriend was found guilty of theft, fraud, and illegal sale of human tissue. She got 2 years in state prison and owes me $75,000 in damages I'll probably never see. The recipient got probation and a massive fine, conditional on her testimony. And the baby? That was the hardest part. CPS took the child at birth due to the criminal nature of its conception and the mother's unfitness. A paternity test confirmed it was mine. CPS told me I was the only legal parent with first rights. I looked at that little baby in the hospital, a child I never asked for, conceived in deceit and sold for cash. I felt nothing but overwhelming tiredness. I knew I couldn't be the father this kid needed. Every time I looked at them, I'd remember the betrayal. I signed away my rights and specified the child go immediately to a closed adoption, to a family that actually wanted a child and didn't start their journey with felony. The baby was adopted in less than a month. I've moved since then. New job, new apartment. I have no idea if my ex is still in prison, and I don't care. I'm back to grilling on weekends. But now I lock my doors, and I finally got that dog. Just a heads up to everyone out there. If your partner is weirdly interested in your bathroom habits, maybe ask why.